I want to tell you about an elephant who wanted to kill me. Not figuratively, an actual elephant. At a facility where I was working as an exotic animal trainer in my 20s and 30s. And she had decided, for reasons that were entirely her own, that I was not someone she was willing to tolerate. Every time I came near her, her body language shifted. She'd pull back. Sometimes she would throw poop at me. Sometimes she would throw hay at me. And I was 20 something years old, and I wanted so badly to fix it fast and to prove myself and to just get there already. And every single time I pushed, I knew I would lose ground. It took months, months of showing up, sitting nearby, not demanding anything, letting her decide, building that trust. And one day she just didn't react. And eventually, she let me touch her and then work with her. And I became one of only two people that she fully trusted and would cooperate for. I didn't know it at the time, but that elephant was teaching me how to sell real estate. Hey, I'm Katie Ragland, associate broker in Alabama, realtor in Florida, working Baldwin County and the Pensacola area for Real Broker LLC. This is Keys and Clarity. And today's episode is for two specific people. Somebody who's thinking about getting into real estate later in life and wondering if they've waited too long, and somebody who's maybe a year or two in and already starting to feel the edges of burnout. This one is for both of you because I think I have something to say to you that most agents won't. I did not get my real estate license until I was 40 years old. October of 2022. And before that, for over a decade, I was a licensed massage therapist. Before that, an exotic animal trainer. I studied exotic animal training and management. I worked with species that most people only see behind glass. And before that, I got a degree in pre-vet animal science from Auburn University. So when people ask me how I got into real estate, I usually give the short answer. But today you're getting the real one. I loved massage. I want to be clear about that. I genuinely loved it. There's something remarkable about being trusted with somebody's body, somebody's pain, someone's nervous system. You learn to read people without words. You notice where they're bracing. You feel where they're holding tension they haven't even consciously acknowledged themselves. That's not a small thing. That's actually a profound thing to spend a decade doing. But here's what I also learned. Massage has a ceiling that you cannot negotiate your way through. When someone is sick, you don't work. When they forget, you don't work. When their kid gets sick, when something better comes up, when they no-show you, you don't work. And you definitely don't get paid. And when you're sick or hurt, you really don't work. And your bills, they don't care. The more skilled I became, the more I built my reputation, the more people sought me out, and my income still lived and died by who showed up on any given day. That equation started to bother me more and more the longer I did it. There's a principle that I think should be true of any career. As your expertise grows, your income should not shrink. In massage, I couldn't fully make that true. And that started to weigh on me. Then COVID happened. And they told us, massage therapists, that we were not critical workers. So we stayed home without pay for weeks or months. And then in the summer of 2021, after I got COVID, something strange happened. I was doing something completely ordinary. I couldn't even tell you exactly what. And I felt nothing. No pain, nothing dramatic, just heard a simple pop. But I woke up the next morning and my wrist did not work anymore. And it didn't work right for months and more months. I'm pretty confident it was a ligament injury. All the details point that direction. And honestly, even as I'm recording this, it's never going to be fully trusted again. There's always a hint, a warning, a crackle, always a background awareness that something could snap. That's just the truth. But I couldn't stop working because stopping working meant stopping income. So I worked with a wrist brace, modified, compensated, and then right wrist still in a brace. I sprained my ankle so badly I needed a boot and crutches. Same side. Right wrist, right ankle. Super helpful. Super helpful. The more I had to sit still, the more time I had to think. And what I kept thinking about was longevity. When you're younger, you think you can do physical work forever. The older you get, the more your body starts to have opinions about that. I've seen it happen to other people, and then it was finally happening to me. And I started doing math that I didn't want to do about how many more years I could realistically do this before my body just stopped cooperating. That's when a colleague who'd gotten into real estate a few years before started talking me into trying it. I want to be careful here not to make this sound like a clean movie moment, because it wasn't. It was me on crutches with a wrist brace, running numbers in my head and not liking what I was coming up with. But I also want to be honest about what I brought with me when I walked into that real estate class at 39. I brought 12 plus years of reading people without words. I brought years of understanding that you cannot rush trust. You cannot manufacture it. You cannot force it. The clients who have been with me the longest in massage, some of them 12 years or more, they didn't become loyal because I was the best I'd ever been on the first appointment. They became loyal because I showed up consistently, I listened, and I paid attention. I brought the animals because exotic animal training, and I mean actually working with them, not just being nearby, is a master class in negotiation. Every session is a negotiation. The capuchin monkey, who had self-harming behaviors, who you could not rush for a single second. Sometimes it would take 2 hours of just sitting outside her enclosure before she'd allow you to harness her for a walk. 2 hours for a 20-minute walk. And you couldn't push it. The moment you pushed it, you lost her. Had to come back tomorrow, try again a different day. The camel, who just flatly refused to do things your way. And if you tried to force it, it would eventually backfire spectacularly. And the elephant I told you about at the beginning, months, months of patience before she decided I was safe. Real estate clients are not that different. I have sat with buyers who didn't want to tell me what they were actually thinking about a house. And I could see it on their faces anyway. That's not intuition, that's training. Massage taught me to read discomfort in a face, in a posture, in a micro expression. Animal training taught me that you do not get to rush another living being's trust just because you're ready. Here's what I want to say directly to the person who's 38 or 45 or 52 and thinking about getting into real estate and wondering if they've missed their window. You haven't. And I would actually argue the opposite. 25-year-old me could not have done this job well. Not because I wasn't smart enough or capable enough, but because I didn't have the patience for the process, for the learning, for the people. Honestly, I didn't like people enough at 25. And what I've come to understand since then is that what I really mean to say is I didn't love myself enough at 25. When you're not settled in yourself, other people's uncertainty and neediness and irrationality feels like a threat. And real estate has a lot of uncertainty and some neediness and probably some irrationality, if we're being honest. If you're 25 and easily rattled, you will get eaten alive by this industry, not by the hard clients, but by your own reaction to them. The things that make a good real estate agent great: patience, emotional regulation, genuine curiosity about what someone actually needs versus what they say they need, the ability to sit in discomfort and not feel the silence. Those are not things most 25-year-olds possess. They're things you earn. I earned mine with a camel and a capuchin monkey and an elephant and a tiger and 12 years of people who didn't know how to ask for what they actually needed. And to the agent who's a year or two in and already feeling it, I see you. The hustle culture in this industry is real, and it is aggressive, and it is not sustainable for most people. Here's what I want to offer you. The skills you brought into this career from your previous life are not irrelevant. They are not something to apologize for or hide behind a polished bio. They are your actual competitive advantage if you'll let them be. Whatever your past is, teaching, nursing, military, coaching, whatever you did before, there are transferable truths in it that translate directly to this work. The question is whether you're willing to look for them instead of trying to become the version of an agent you see on Instagram. The version of you that's been shaped by everything you did before real estate, that's not your liability. That's your depth. I still do massage, not as my primary income. That's reserved for real estate now. But I still have clients I've known for over a decade who understand that I will get to them when I can, that real estate comes first, and they're just grateful that I haven't walked away entirely because it's not about abandoning what you built before. It's about being honest about what you were built for and being willing to let that answer change as you grow into yourself. I started studying for my license at 39. I got my license at 40, and I can tell you with complete honesty that every strange, nonlinear, physically demanding, emotionally complicated year that came before it, it all counts. It all counts. And yours does too. I'm Katie Ragland. This is Keys and Clarity. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're somewhere on the Gulf Coast thinking about what's next, I'd love to talk about it.